What is up, Everyday Athlete Podcast Network listeners? Welcome to the Fireside Chat. I have a very special guest today. I'm being joined by Renee, who I met a few years ago and had the absolute privilege of submitting a testimonial for her to become an iFit ambassador for the Boston Marathon. So we'll get into that a little bit. We'll also talk about what it's like to be a Black female in the running space, as well as being menopausal in the running space. We want to talk about pace police because, around here, we don't gatekeep. If you're putting one foot in front of the other, we are cheering for you. We don't care what your speed is or how far you're going in this community of ours. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. As you know, you got to subscribe, rate, review, download, all the things that we need you to do so that we can continue to get great guests like Renee onto the show, because it really does help build a bigger and broader community. So that's enough of the filling of the time slot to get the beginning going, and let's bring Renee on so we can have a great conversation. My friend, how are we today?
I'm great. Hey, Jason. I got to correct you on my name, though.
Oh, Shenita, I'm sorry. Yes. I'm so angry at myself.
My old handle. Yeah, my old handle is throwing you off.
And it's because I wrote it down, and then I wrote Shenita, and I put a big box around it, and I still ignored it. But thank you for correcting me. With a last name like Bahamundi, I'm very sensitive to names, so I apologize. Oh, yeah. I apologize for screwing up your name right out of the gate. So, folks, hang around. The show's only going to get better from here.
It's all good. I know I confused you because I changed my handle. That's all that is.
So, one question that I love to start out with, and we started doing this with our Enduring Minds podcast, and I've adopted it over here because I think it gives us a window into who the guest is, and then we take it from there. So my very first question for you is, who is Shenita?
I am a girl that's from Nashville, Tennessee originally. I was in the military for 20 years. I did 20 years of active duty Navy, and I got into running. Running's kind of been my gym for the last, I got into running in like 2016, but I was doing mostly 5Ks and half marathons. And I'm a huge music lover, dancer. I'm a person that just loves to live life. I love to travel, and I love meeting people. That's who Shenita is.
That is a great response. And I want to ask you this question. Why was Nashville, Tennessee the first thing that you identified yourself with? How important is your connection to that city that it was the first thing that came out?
It's the city that raised me. I was born and raised there. I spent 21 years of my early life there. Music is kind of like my first love. I'm a little bit of a singer, not professional, but music is like really ingrained into who I am and in my personality. And Nashville was a huge part of that. I know a lot of people think it's just about country music, but it's not. A little history lesson. Nashville is known as the music city because of copyrights, not because of country music. But
I was going to say, we have a member of the Everyday Athlete Clubhouse who her name is Adria. She is an attorney for music rights and lives in the Nashville area. You may have met her because I know she goes to a lot of races in the Nashville area, but she is an attorney for musicians to help make sure that all of their copyrights and all of that good stuff is taken care of.
Yep. And my family's all there. I live in Virginia now, but I go back because my family's all there. So, yeah.
That's cool. So you said you were born and raised there until 21. You said you were in the military. So was it at 21 that you entered into the military then?
Yes. I actually went to boot camp 9 days before my 21st birthday.
So let me ask you this, because you started running in 2016. Mm-hmm. When you had to run in the military, were you into it, or was it one of those things where you're like, he faces it all?
Hated it. And it's so funny because any person that knew me earlier on in my naval career was like, and they see me now, they're like, Oh my God, I remember you used to hate running. And so at the time that I was in the military, in the Navy, you either had to run or you had to swim. And I can't swim. I know people are like, Harry, were you in the Navy for 20 years and can't swim? They teach us water survival, people. Okay.
Right.
And I was
Right.
always in a ship that had some sort of aircraft landing on it. So I always tell people, if I have to abandon that ship, the shit done hit the fan already, because we got things that's fly and attack. So I'm not swimming nowhere anyway. But bottom line is, I only would run when my physical fitness test was up, and I hated it. But in 2014, I was in an airport bombing in Brussels when I was stationed out there. And so when I got back to the States, I was stationed in California, Point Magoo to be exact.
Oh, I know where that is. Right around the corner from here.
See, the weather, the weather is pretty much nice until wildfires decide to attack us. But
Yes.
but I got into running there, and running became something that was just so cathartic for me. I was a pretty high ranking person, so I had like 300 people always pulling me in different directions. So running helped me get back to me, helped me focus on what I need to focus on, and just got my mental right. And then I retired in 2019, right before COVID. And I moved back here to Virginia, and most of my friends had already left. So it was just me here in Virginia. And so running was like another safe space for me to get out. And then, the only time you could really see people, because I live in Hampton Roads, Virginia.
Yeah.
There's beaches all over. I live 5 minutes from the beach. So that would be the only time I could see other people during COVID, because everybody kind of got into running then, because we could all be outside, but we were still socially distancing ourselves from each other. So it was like, hi, as you're running by. And I'm that type of person that likes to talk to people, as you can honestly tell.
I love it. If I'm not mistaken, I think Hampton Roads is where Allen Iverson is originally from.
Yes, Newport News. Yep.
He's one of my favorite basketball players. And I don't know if you follow basketball at all, but they have an Amazon 3-part series on Allen Iverson that if you are a hoops fan, I can't recommend it enough. It was so well done.
He's a great guy. He does a lot for the city of Newport News. He puts on this annual basketball. I think it happened last month, if I'm not mistaken. It's kind of like an all-star jam. Remember how MTV used to do those back in the day?
Yeah.
It's similar to that he does here, and he does it in Hampton, which is where I live, at the Hampton Coliseum. But he gives a lot back to the city of Newport News. He's a pretty good dude. They named a street after him.
Yeah. It's amazing, because just this past weekend, we were in Irvine, California. My wife was finishing up her last class for her doctorate.
Oh, congratulations.
And we got, Dr. Lori. I'm calling my wife Dr. Lori now, because I'm so proud of her.
Awesome.
But in the conversation, hoops came up again, because Knicks are winning the championship. I'm from New York. And we got into like, who's on your Mount Rushmore basketball anyway. But one of the ladies at the conference, she braided Allen Iverson's hair. Like this is like how the world works in mysterious ways.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I want to go back to running. So 2016, you said you started running. You were still in the military. You didn't get out until 2019. What do you think changed in that moment that went from I hate running to this is a place for me to have to deal with the 300 reportees, I guess you would call them, people that were reporting to me? Like, what changed in that scenario that you went from hatred to I absolutely need this to kind of get away?
It was the time, because I didn't have my cell phone, like that was the time for me. Like they couldn't contact me. Well, I had my cell phone, but I had it in do not disturb. So that was just the time that I could just set aside for myself and just focus in on whatever popped up in my head, that I need to focus in to take care of myself. Because at the same time, I was still dealing with after effects from PTSD from that bombing that I was going through. Yep. And then having to take on the responsibilities of 300 other people. I always call them grown children. Yeah, you got to take on responsibilities for 300 grown children, and that kind of pushes what you always have to set aside what you have going on, especially
Yep.
when you're um the military is very mission oriented, so
Right.
the running, that's how I started developing the love for it. Was like, I'm like, okay, I need to get out of here and go for a run and just zone out. That's basically what I would do. I would zone out. If I was trying if I was struggling to find an answer with something, that's when I would get my answers. It made me calmer. It also helped me get better with my surroundings, because I had a hypervigilance issue where I was always watching people, and you
Yeah.
know,
I mean, I would imagine that comes from being in the military and the training that you're getting, in all of those years of being in
mhm,
the military to be on the lookout for certain things.
yeah, yeah.
So 2019 comes around,
Mhm.
you're now in Virginia and COVID hits. And how does running help you get through that pandemic and through that process? Because there were a lot of people that felt alone, felt isolated. And now you're in a new place. You're no longer in Nashville. So now you're in a new place. How does running help you process life in that time frame?
I'm a very structured person, so the running helped me keep that structure in a world of chaos. So um, that's one of the things with me being in the military, is I always had structure. So losing that after getting out of the military, and then COVID happens, wasn't working, and so that gave me a reason to say, okay, I need to, if I want to beat the heat during the summertime, then I need to get up at this time and to plan out my day. So that's how it helped me, was maintain structure. So it gave me a reason to get up and get out instead of sitting in the house and eating
Yep.
all the cookies.
Yes. I'm good right now. I've only had two. I have had two so far today, and I'm not even anywhere near my apartment right now, so I can't even sneak them in while
Uh,
we're talking.
see?
For those of you who don't know or are on the outside of this joke, today is June 16th. This will be published on June 23rd. But I have purchased the package of Firework Pop Oreos and a package of BTS, and I've been trying to limit myself to only two a day. But Shenita gave me a great idea. She said, just operate on East Coast time. So at 9 p.m., you can have another one because it's a new day. So I like the way you're thinking. Strategy.
And you know how they always say it's 5 o'clock somewhere? Well,
One of the things I wanted to ask you about, because you brought it up a little bit earlier, like running became a safe space for you. And we just published April Pullen's podcast from last week, Fireside Chat, today. And we got into the conversation about being a Black woman runner. And she was talking about going to Montana, and she was purposeful with her words and said, I'm not worried that somebody's going to pull out a gun on me. I'm more worried about, are they going to welcome me
mhm.
in the event? And so I want to ask you that question, because you said running gave you a safe space to be. As a Black female runner, how do those two things work together for you? How is running giving you a safe space? And if it isn't, how can we give you a safe space?
Okay, when I say running, it gives me a safe space. That's, excuse me, my day to day training. My, excuse me, my day to day training. I do run alone most times. And so with your day to day training, you can control who you're around. So in that aspect, that creates the safe space. I do agree with April, and that portion of your mind as a Black woman and as a Black person in this country, wherever we go, are we, that are not stereotypically known to be places where people of color in general
Right.
are often visited. Um, that's always something that is in the back of my mind. Like this, if this wasn't a running situation, but when I went, no, actually I could take it back. When I went to Prague, to run a half marathon in, was it April or March? It was March. I went to Prague. I'm one of those crazy people. I got two different things going on where I'm trying to do all the world majors, and then I'm also trying to complete this other thing called the super hats, where it's a European version of the world majors, kind of. So I went to Prague, and Prague is not necessarily a place where most people would even visit. So myself as a Black person and a Black woman that often travels solo, that was something that I was a little bit afraid of on how I would navigate and move at the specific race. But what I find oftentimes is, especially in today's time, a lot of people, we're all bonded through dissension on the way things are ran in this country at this particular moment. And so I think that helps a little bit alleviate, like kind of turn a knob a little bit on the whole color thing. But I know that was definitely something that was on that's always on my mind.
Yeah.
And then, it also depends on, like, I was born in, like we already discussed, I was born in Nashville, Tennessee. So for many of us, depending on where you were raised, that also creates a foundation of thought in your mind too.
Yep.
Some area, like New York's a melting pot. Like
I won't, like, first of all, I get that my complexion, I don't have enough melanin for people to mistake me for being Hispanic. So oftentimes they just think I'm an Italian dude, or sometimes growing up in New York, I was confused for being Jewish because there's a big Jewish population up there. And because New York is a melting pot, it's not easy for me to process and understand people who were born and raised in other parts of the country where this is far more prevalent and vocal than it is in New York City. Racism exists in New York City for sure, but you just don't see it as loud as you do in other places.
Right. And so, and then in today's climate, when I lived in California last, I left California in 2019. Perfect example would be, are you familiar with the Camarillo outlets?
Yes.
So I was walking around there because I lived in Camarillo when I was stationed in Point Magoo. And I was walking around there, and like I said, I'm a bubbly person. I always have a smile on my face. And this lady walked by me, and I'm the type of person that's going to speak because that's how I was raised. So I was like, oh, right. So I was like, oh, hello, how are you? How's your day? And this lady, she says, oh, my day's going great. What did she say? I hope you're, oh my gosh. It was this crazy comment that she said. What was it? I hope you're, oh no, this is what she said. She said, I hope you're enjoying your freedom. And I was like, huh?
Excuse me?
Right. And it's like, I stood there for a second. I was like, what is she talking about? And then she was like, oh yeah, because it's a new day. And this was in 2019 during the first.
Yeah.
So I was dumbfounded because in SoCal.
Right.
It's like, what? Like, this is supposed to be one of the most liberal places there is. I would have expected somebody to say this to me in Tennessee, not SoCal.
Right.
So I was really dumbfounded by that. But that's the thing. So people are a lot more vocal about their racism now. Mm-hmm. So I think that's also something that can play into the running racist space. Yep. But for the most part, my experiences with running, the running community for the most part has been very welcoming. Once we figure out that we all have something in common, and we're all, especially, with marathons, we're all crazy. And we all, we're all going to be going through some form of pain in those 26.2 miles that, we might as well bond instead of hating each other,
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the cliche is, right, that we have more in common than we don't. And it just takes conversation. And you like to talk, and so do I. And I think that, like, if we could just get more people to have conversation and come at it from an even keel, right? Because look, oftentimes people can come into conversations with their fists ready to fight. And it's like, time out. Let's just have a conversation where we're not trying to be louder than the person across the room from us. Like, I just want to talk to you. I want to hear you out. I want to have conversation. And so I think that if we can get to that space, then I think we will find that we are more alike than we are disalike, and
Yeah.
can ease tensions at the very least.
Yeah. I because I travel a lot. I've been to 31 countries. and, and because of my personality has always been this way. Even as
Yeah,
a child, like
me too.
what yeah, like even as a child, like I learned a little bit of Spanish, and then in Nashville they had a huge influx of people coming from Texas. And so we had an ESL classes for well, we had an ESL section of our school. And so I used to help a lot of the kids and speak Spanish to the teachers on their behalf to try to help. And like, it's so interesting because I graduated in 1997, and there was a guy that his name was Mario. And Mario, he was one of those ESL students. And he was like 2 years behind me. This guy found me on Facebook like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, no way.
Yes, he found me on Facebook 3 weeks ago, and I got this message. I was like, "Who is this?" And he was like, "Hey, old friend, remember me? You used to help me out all the time." And this guy was such a great guy. Like he was a huge Selena fan, the singer
Okay.
Selena,
Yeah.
and I was a Selena fan too. So I've always been like real culturally diverse.
Yep.
And so he found out I was a Selena fan. This was before she got killed. He gave me a picture of her, like
Oh,
that he
wow.
took at one of the concerts that she had done there. And so that's what he told me. He was like, "Remember, I gave you the picture of Selena?" And I was like, "Oh my God, Mario! Wow, he's a chef. He's still in Nashville. Yeah, yeah." So that's
What a great
you never
story.
know who how you're helping people and being open. Like that's a
Yes.
huge thing for me. Like whenever I go somewhere, I always try to pick up a couple of sayings and whatever the language is.
Yep.
Um
Be a local.
and
Become a local. That's the
yeah,
best way to experience the new areas. Become a local.
yes. When I went to Thailand, I actually went and saw a kickboxing match, and they have a section that has a section for it specifically says tourist. I was like, I'm on tourist side. I took my butt and sat with the locals, and I'm sitting up there making bets and everything. And I
Yeah.
was
That's amazing. I have always found, so, parents will tell you don't talk to strangers. And, I was 85 years old when I was 16. And I would tell my parents, like, but they're only a stranger because I haven't talked to them yet. Like, if we
Mhm.
talk to them, they won't they're not a stranger anymore. Right.
Right.
And maybe that's some naivete in there, but like, I just find people so interesting that, like, if I don't talk to you, I don't hear the story about Mario. I don't
Right.
know that he's a chef. I don't know that he's a Selena fan. I don't know that he gave you a picture. But
Right.
because we talk, like, that's an amazing. And now I'm gonna share that story, all over the place. When Selena comes up, I'm gonna be like, I got a story for you.
Right.
And we live
Yeah.
on Sunset Boulevard, and there's a huge mural with all of the, not all, but deceased female singers, and Selena is up there, and Whitney is up
Oh.
there. Amy Winehouse is up there. And so, like, it's a dope
Mhm.
mural. And now I have a connection. When I see Selena's picture, I can be like, okay, cool. Now I
Yeah.
have the story. But I
Yeah.
think that only happens if you actually talk to people, which,
Yeah.
makes the world a much better and a smaller place too. It becomes less fear. We're less scared because we're no longer petrified of what's around us. We've brought it all in and are
Yes.
hanging out with it.
Yes. I've actually seen it. I had a situation when I was on a ship, and I was in charge of admin, like just updating people's records. And there was a guy that was he had been in the Navy, but he grew up in a place where there was no Black people, and so he had some negative views about us. And it's interesting because over time, him and we stood in the same duty section in the Navy. With duty sections on the ship, you're on the ship for 24 hours. So we would stand in the same duty section. So he would get to learn more and more about me because we had to interact.
Right.
And he got selected for promotion for a pay grade that I was up for, and I got passed over for it. I helped him with his record. This guy came to me in tears, literal tears, and thanked me. And he told me, he was like, I changed his perspective on Black people. Like, because of the way we, all of our conversations and the way that I guess the way that I moved and everything. So it is, like you said, if you do have conversations with people, you might change. There's no magic wand that,
Right,
but
right, right.
conversation piece is definitely a huge piece. Like, even in my travels overseas, I had this one, I remember my cousin, he came to Belgium as a graduation gift from graduating from college.
That's cool.
And I have a master's degree, and there was this guy that I forgot what country he was from, but we were in Amsterdam. And we're sitting there pounding drinks down, and this guy, he's just like, oh, you guys are Americans? And we're like, yeah. And he was like, what do y'all do? Are you rappers? They automatically assume we're some sort of entertainers, right?
Course.
And I'm like, no. No. He just graduated from college. This is his graduation trip. And I live in Belgium. And so he started, and he was just like, oh, he had this misconception about Black people in education.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, I have a master's degree,
Right.
And I'm like, where are you guys getting this information from? We're educated just as much as the next person,
That's right.
And so we sat there and we talked about different things throughout the whole night. This guy bought us drinks the entire night, so I definitely talking to him. I don't drink anymore. I stopped drinking about 7 years ago, but back then I was like, oh, you want to buy my drinks? Come on.
Congratulations on your sober journey.
Thank you. So by the end of the night, he was another one that was just like, you gave me a lot of stuff to think about, like how the media influences. And that's another thing is, so it's like podcasts like this, definitely important because it does help reshape the way people are viewed in the media.
It does. It really does help because, look, I'm a born and bred New Yorker. My wife has said I'm a very even keeled person, but I will lose my shit over human rights being violated and people dismissing New York City. Like I will just lose my shit over both of those things.
Who dismisses New York City?
And
when I used to work for NATO in Belgium at the headquarters, and I was the only American in my office. You want to know what parts of the United States they know?
New York,
California, and Florida.
Yeah.
All the rest of the places,
Rest doesn't
they
count.
have no clue. All right. So I don't know who's dismissing New York.
I say that because, there are people who, I kid you not, Shenita, there are people who believe that Law and Order only takes place in New York City. So if you're seeing crime on a weekly basis based out of New York City on 3 different shows, you think crime is just rampant. And it's happening, and it's like they literally tell you in the beginning of that show, it's ripped from the headlines. So like this crime happened in Kansas or London, who knows where it happened.
Mm-hmm.
It just the stories is based in New York City. So I say all of that because when people finally hear me and they hang out with me and they talk with me, they're like, oh, it's not the New York City I was envisioning. Like people think it's hardcore and angry and we all dress in black and that part is probably true. But
that's so ignorant though.
Totally.
We live in an age where you can actually go onto a website and click and look at a live webcam of people going down the street. Like I'm going to tell you, little Shenita used to always want to live in New York City. Like I used to always say, I'm going to be a big singer and I'm going to go and move to New York City. And I am the biggest fan of this person and you cannot judge me. I'm going to show you who it is.
Oh, no judgment here.
This is my favorite singer of all time, Mariah Carey.
I mean, who doesn't like Mariah Carey?
Mariah Carey is my girl. So I used to always be like, I'm going to go to New York City and I'm going to meet Mariah
Carey. I mean, Mariah and DMX, I'm in on that song. I can play that song all day, every day.
Yes. I was just like, yeah. So, but I've been like I did eventually make it. I've been to New York City so many times. And that cousin that visited me in Belgium, he lives in New York. He lives in Harlem.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because his accent is all over the place. He's got a Southern New York. It's weird. It's so funny because he's lived there for so long.
I
But
love it.
but yeah.
I want to talk about the shirt that you're wearing because it refers to the Black Unicorns. And before we started recording, I told you that I've been running for 19 years. I stopped running marathons 14 years ago, and I just started again this year. I went through Ironman and ultras, and I'm circling back to marathons. I think we're running 3 this year. And until recently, I had never heard of the Black Unicorns at the Boston Marathon, and it hurts to not know that. And I think that goes to the conversation that we are just having about Black athletes in these spaces and not getting seen and heard enough. So walk me through getting to Boston, and is it a conference? Is it like where did the Black Unicorns meet? Like, how does this whole thing unfold?
Okay, so how I even found out I didn't know about the Black Unicorns either. So there is a study that was done where they said that Black marathoners as a whole, we only represent like 1 or 2% of the whole thing. Now we're known to be, sprinters. Like that's
Right.
pretty much been the lane. But the Black Unicorn marathoners, I got an invitation from someone else that I met. So how I even got to even know what it was, when I did my first world major in Sydney last year, I met a whole bunch of other Black marathoners. And so they told me, hey, they asked me, they're like, have you joined the Black Marathoners page? And I was like, oh, so I joined that. And then the next marathon I ran was in Chicago. That's the one where you saw the picture the first time we connected. And from there, a lot of the same people that were in Sydney were in Chicago.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like you start seeing the same people at different races. And so you're connecting with these people, of course, because it's such a small group. And then when we get to the races, we'll know, hey, you're going to be at this race? All right, let's link up. So, you feel safer in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then when I got into Boston, I did not time qualify for Boston. I'm too slow.
It's okay. You ain't got to explain anything. You ran Boston, period.
Yes. I got into Boston. So when I made the announcement, I got an invitation to join the Black Unicorn Marathoners page. And what they do is it's totally free. If they find out that you're running the marathoner, if they find out you're running the Boston Marathon and you're friends with other people that are part of the Black Unicorns page, they'll invite you to join the page. They'll ask you to send like a mini bio. They feature you, and it's totally free. And then they send you a link to register for an event they have. And this event is so amazing. It was like they pour so much love into you.
Oh, that's awesome.
They do a processional for all of the people that are running, and all of the previous Black Unicorn marathoners that are there. They line up. And they have like these guys playing on djembe drums, and as you're walking through, and they're like, they're cheering you on as you're walking through the.
I'm going to tell you right now, all I'm envisioning, because we did this in my family, was the Soul Train line. Like, I mean,
you're just walking through, but it was so much love. Like they're cheering you on. They're like, woo, yeah, and they're playing the drums, and you're walking through, and you sit basically in, it's like a space where everybody takes a seat, and they go around the room. They pass the mic around the room, and you get like 2 minutes to introduce yourself. And it was so cool seeing where people are from. And
Oh,
it's not
that's
just,
so cool.
yeah, and it's for, it's not just for Black uh, African Americans, it's also for people of color. There was some Puerto Ricans in there. There was some, not just African Americans, Jamaicans, Haitians. It was people of color. And everything's it was amazing. They gave us these shirts, they gave us a bag, they gave us these little bracelets, they gave us a coffee cup,
That's so cool.
a little medal that said Black Unicorn on it.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, and one of the coolest thing is Marilyn Bevins. Do you know who that is?
I do not.
She's the first African American born person to run the Boston Marathon and under sub 3. So there's a list of African American born women that did sub 3, and it's not that many of them. I think there might be 27 now.
Okay.
But Marilyn Bevins, she's like in her 60s. And so there's a Team Bevins that they have. And then so she was there.
Did she do anything with Deanna Castor at the Boston Marathon?
Quite possibly.
I think I remember seeing that the name is starting to sound far more familiar now, because when you said Team Bevins, now it's starting to sound far more familiar.
But she was there and she spoke to us. And the guy that won the Los Angeles Marathon, he was there.
Yeah.
Nathan, I can't remember. Nathan Martin.
His last name. Yes.
And he came and spoke to us, and it's just a lovely event, and it was free, and it was just them pouring back into the community. And basically what it does is like, hey, you're here and you deserve to be here. And and what was really cool, there was she was 82 years old, an 82-year-old lady that ran Boston. Her name was Tamara, and I can't remember what her last name was. Amazing lady. And she ran the Boston Marathon at 82 years old.
What a cool event, because I have to look. Anxiety, stress, travel, like all of that stuff to get to the Boston Marathon. You want to perform well, you want to do well. To have that outpouring of love, I have to imagine lowers that anxiety and that stress just a little bit, because now you're surrounded by all of that love and support.
Yes. It was amazing. It happened. So the marathon was on a Monday and it happened that Saturday. So you still had Sunday to rest afterwards. Yeah. But yeah, it was a lovely event, like amazing. And so
now all of a sudden I feel like I need to get back into thinking about the Boston Marathon, because I told you I tried qualifying for the Boston Marathon 14 years ago, and I absolutely did not enjoy the training. Like running a marathon is 0 to 60, hold on for dear life until the very end. Yeah. And I was training for the Las Vegas Rock and Roll Marathon, which took place at night. And I think that year I ran a 3:31, and the time I needed back then was like 3:15 or something like that. So I was way off. And I was like, man, I do not ever want to go through that training again. At that race, I was in pain. I was in tears at like mile 23, just trying to gut it out. But if Puerto Ricans are getting invited to the Black Unicorns party, then might have to figure out how to get back into the Boston Marathon now.
Yeah, it's open to people of color. It's not just for African Americans. So that was pretty cool. I know with Boston, that was a pretty special thing. I felt so loved. It was amazing. And I'm trying to think. Yeah, like I said, how I even found out about it was just
word of mouth.
Happenstance. Yeah, it was happenstance. Yeah. And once people that I met at the other races, they saw my announcement that I was running Boston, they fed me over to them and was like, hey.
That's so cool. Yeah. So you did Sydney, you've done Boston, you've done Chicago. So that leaves Tokyo, London, and Berlin.
I'm doing Berlin this September.
So you're doing Berlin this September. And
Yeah.
what do the plans look like for London and Tokyo? How does that shake out for you so far?
Well, I did London too.
Oh, you did London. Okay.
Yeah. So I did. Okay. So I originally signed up to do, I actually got into London first. And then I found out I won the iFit contest. So that's how I ended up doing back-to-back marathons.
Back to backs. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. 6 days apart. So yeah. But Boston was my best marathon time as of yet.
Hey, look at
Right.
you.
But I got a training mishap because I slipped and fell a couple of weeks, almost a month ago. And now I'm having to do run walk intervals until my knee is rehabbed. So
Okay.
I'm hoping to get back to my regular training by July 5th. So, and it's crazy because yesterday was the first day I actually got to run 3 consecutive minutes, and I manageable pain, So
Yeah.
I'm like, yay! So I'm hoping to get back July 5th, but I have
So the
Berlin.
last one is Tokyo then at this moment.
No, New York and Tokyo.
New York and Tokyo. So do you have plans for both of those?
I'm part of the Abbott Gold Club. Like, I'm one of those people, I will spend the money to get into anything I can to try to get extra looks. So I'm part of the Abbott Gold Club. I'm on a drawing list for that. I'll find out if I get picked for Tokyo in August. New York Roadrunners. I'm part of them. And they just announced a special drawing for the virtual marathon, which will give you a guaranteed entry for next year. So I'm hoping to get that so I can do the virtual race and get a guaranteed entry for New York next year. So that's the plan.
So we are planning this year, 2026, to go to the New York City Marathon and have an Everyday Athlete Clubhouse meetup at a coffee shop up there. We're going to just presume it goes fantastically well. And so we'll be back in 2027 when you'll be running the New York City Marathon. We'll get to meet in person if we don't meet in person before then as well.
Yes.
So let me ask you this. I saw that Cape Town is now the number 8 world major. And so you're 2 away, right? Presume Berlin happens this year. You're 2 away. When Abbott makes an announcement that they're adding another one on there, is there elation or is there like, man, you got to be kidding me?
I'm already at the man, you got to be kidding me. So here's the thing. You can still go for the original 6.
Okay.
And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going for the original 6. The last one that I know of, Shanghai is supposed to be the next candidate.
Okay.
And I work for the government, and they they got issues. So I might have to so I'm one of those people, I'll work for a while, then I'm like, I got what I need. That's me. So I'm lucky. I guess I'm very lucky in that aspect. But
you created your luck. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So whenever I get to that point, if I decide to go ahead and go for because it's going to be a 9-star. Whenever they create a new star, they haven't even created a new star for the 2 additional ones that they added. It's still the regular 6-star.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go for the original 6, get that 6-star, and then once they finally create the new star, because once they create the new star, that means they're not going to add anymore.
Right.
They ain't gonna spend the money until they. No. So that's the plan. I'm gonna wait for them to create the next star for me to decide whether or not I'm gonna go for the newer ones.
Let me ask you this: you have the ear of the folks at the Abbott World Majors who are making decisions. Shanghai is on board, let's presume, and they are saying to you, Shenita, what's the next one? Where would you want to see Abbott put the pin on the map for what would then be the 10th world major?
They need something in South America. They don't have anything in South America.
I was thinking Rio. That was the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah. Yes. I would love to do that and run by. Well, I don't know if we could run by the Great Redeemer sign. That might be very, very painful. Right. Maybe get a something in the distance, but yeah, right. But
I mean,
yeah,
Buenos Aires would be fantastic as well. That would be
yeah,
another great place to go. Gosh, there'd be so many places down there.
yeah.
Cartagena would be another place. Like, I
I
mean,
love Cartagena. Yeah,
yeah,
Cartagena
like
is beautiful. Yeah,
it would like they could probably just have 6 down there in South America by
right.
themselves. We better
Yeah.
not give them any ideas because they'd be like, look, we're gonna have 6 in South America, we'll have 6 in North
Oh
America, we'll have
Lord,
6 in yeah. We'll be broke as a joke before we know it.
right? I didn't realize that running was gonna be this expensive once I decided. Like, it's so funny because how I even decided to make the transition from half marathons to marathons. It was one of those situations where I was like, I don't need this job anymore. So, but I'm always like, well, what's the next thing I'm going to be doing? If I don't,
Yeah.
what am I going to be doing? So I was like, you know what? I think I want to train for a marathon. So that's how I got into it. Yeah.
The irony and coincidence that today, right before we jumped on this podcast, I put up a post about them running is free, and then it's like shoes, clothes, nutrition, race entry fees,
Yeah.
right? And like my wife and I, Dr. Lori and I, we talk about this all the time. So like I raced Cocodona in the original inaugural year, and the entry fee was $1,500, right? So like I'm voluntarily giving them $1,500 to run 253 miles.
Oh
I
my.
wound up running 257 because I got lost along the way.
Oh
But right,
no.
like, but that's just the entry fee. That doesn't cover 4.5 days of food, 4.5 days of rental van for my crew to get in there. Like the bill for that event for me was about 5K.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What did you get for the entry fee?
A buckle because I finished. I don't think you get one if you don't finish. So a buckle because I finished. A T-shirt and a bag. And then I guess whatever kind of food I ate on the course. And trust me when I tell you, I was eating everything and anything I could get my hands on.
Okay, so they did have food on the course.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So wait a minute now.
And not like snacks like you would get at a typical ultra, like a 50 or 100 miler. Like, I mean, food, actual food, like sit down, eat cheeseburgers, eggs, like actual food. So,
Oh, that's good.
yeah, they hook you up for that. But still, like, it's just funny and coincidental that we're talking about the expense. And I was like, people will tell you, all you need is a pair of shoes and a shorts. And I'm like,
my most expensive race was Sydney because of the logistics of getting to Sydney.
yeah, I would imagine. Like this is a great question. I'm glad you bring this up because traveling without racing is stressful. Racing without traveling is stressful. So now you're adding the two of them in there. When you're planning to go to Sydney or Berlin or London or anywhere that's not in your hometown, how far in advance are you starting to plan out hotels or Airbnbs, flights? Like, how far in advance are you doing that? Because this episode will come out in a week, June 23rd. Berlin will be coming up in September, and then New York will be happening in November. And this might help people who are figuring out travel and logistics.
Okay, so for me, one of the biggest things that I always do is if it depends on how I get in, first off. So I use tour groups because that's something that a lot of people don't realize is tour groups. There's marathon tours and travel, sports tours international, fit travel. Those all they offer guaranteed entries into certain races, but they're always overseas. So I go that route if I don't get into a lottery.
Okay.
If I don't get in via lottery. So what the tour group does is they handle your guaranteed entry and they handle your hotel. Typically, those companies will get hotels close to the race finish line, or they will transport you to and from.
Okay.
So that takes away some of the
sure. Yeah.
And then some of the tour groups even have meal plans with the hotel. So like you might get all your breakfasts and then a pre-race dinner.
That's cool.
So that alleviates some of the costs.
Yep.
And then when I get in via a lottery, you can buy your plane tickets a year a year up front. So what I
Yeah.
typically do, whenever I go overseas, I do not use US carriers, air carriers. I always go via a European airline. They're usually like half the price of what a Delta or
Oh, wow.
American. Yeah. And what's crazy is the perfect example is when I went to London, my flight was booked through Scandinavian Airlines. But because of where I live, I had to fly Delta Airlines to New York to JFK to get onto Scandinavian Airlines.
Yep.
And then
Makes sense.
yeah. And then on my way back, they stopped me in Atlanta and I had to switch to Delta to get back here. So I still ended up on Delta Airlines, but I paid half the price that I would have had paid had I gone directly through Delta. So the best thing about what I say to anybody that's looking at flights, first place to look is, I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, I don't know the reputable airlines. Lufthansa, Scandinavian Airlines is one that I use a lot. There's a lot of reputable European airlines. You just got to be willing to take that transfer to you. Most of the time, either you got to go through Atlanta or New York.
Or New York. Yep. Yep.
And as far as like, the hotels, get into the course map of the actual race and find out where the starting point. I mean, pick your poison. Do you want to stay close to the finish line? Do you want to stay close to the start line?
Right. Exactly.
I choose to stay at the finish line because you're going to catch hell trying to catch some sort of ride share.
Yeah.
Leaving the race. So you might as well stay as close as you can to the start line. Sign up for all loyalty programs.
Yes.
That's another big thing. Sign up for all loyalty programs. And what people don't realize is like a lot of your Hiltons and Marriott, they're tied into a lot of these other hotels. You just don't recognize those names, but so that's pretty much.
We are like a night or two away from being diamond members at Hilton. We have our American Airlines miles for everything. Like it has been a game changer. We're doing this run club tour this year where we're visiting 6 cities in 7 months doing different races. And we're using all of these points that we're accumulating in various different ways to help reduce the cost. And I have to plug one of our newest partners. I just put out a video on Sunday. One of our newest partners is the Allmine app, ALLMYNE. Go to allmine.com. They are a travel app. And for endurance athletes, it's fantastic because what they do, Shenita, so I'm going to ask you to download it so that when you go to Berlin and you're running when you go to Berlin and run the Boston Marathon, when you go to Berlin and run the marathon, the Berlin Marathon, it's actually what you can do is you can take pictures and videos and create your own personal photo album. And so if you have friends and family that are either there or they want to see it, you can then share that photo album with them, and you can actually purchase a book of your travels with your pictures, with only your pictures in there, instead of having to scroll through Instagram for all of the different posts and stuff like that. So it's a really cool app that they have. I'll send you the link for it and everything else. But like, this is to me, like everything that running is supposed to be, right? If we can travel and meet people and hang out and have fun and build these experiences to then have these conversations to show people like running, like, because a lot of people look at running and they're like, oh, it's so hard and I don't like it. And I hated it when I was in PE. It was always punishment. It's like, but it's like a whole different world than when you were in the 10th grade. Trust me when I tell you that.
Yes. My brother actually just mentioned to me yesterday that he's thinking about checking out this one local run club. And I'm like, I've been telling you to go to them for years. And he's like, I know, but my homeboy, he just told me about it. So I think I'm going to check him out. I'm like, And I got to tell him, I was like, hey, I'm like, run clubs are awesome. They do more than run. Like, it's, and he was like, well, are they going to leave me if I can't keep up? I'm like, no. A lot of times you don't even realize that you're running fast as what you normally will once you link up with somebody and just talking to them. So.
That's exactly right. We're actually we're moving to Phoenix at the end of June, and Just yeah, very hot. We lived there for 2 years already, so we know what we're getting into, folks. But I contacted a coffee shop in downtown while we were there this past weekend, moving stuff in, and so we're going to be launching a run club in August. And look, I get it, August in Phoenix, people, I understand it's going to be hot. We'll bring cooling towels.
Oh
We'll
goodness.
stop and start at a coffee shop and get a nice coffee, okay? But the whole premise is to get people like your brother to just come and hang out. Like, you won't be left behind. It's gonna be the same route every single week, so everybody knows it, and you just get to meet people and expand your world. Because I know that's what running has done for me. It's expanded my world, and I want that for everybody else too.
Yes, yes. Meeting so many different people from all over the world.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're bumping up on time. We're 55 minutes. I could talk to you all day. So we're gonna have to schedule another conversation. Maybe we'll do it when you come back from Berlin, and we could talk about your travels and how the race went for you. So we'll look to book something in September, October.
Okay.
But before I let you go, I love to talk food. I love to hear people's food choices. So if you're up for it, I've got a handful of questions I'd love to ask you about food, mostly snacks and sugary foods and carbs and stuff like that. Nothing crazy.
Okay.
All right, here we go. My very first question is pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
Nay.
That face tells me everything.
I cannot stand that.
I love it. As a New Yorker, just give me cheese slice, man. I don't need anything else. But I didn't know what I was going to get because you've been to 31 countries, and I'm sure you've tasted all kinds of different things. So I was like, oh, maybe, we'll see what happens here. But
and I was stationed in Hawaii. My first duty station was Hawaii, and Hawaiian pizza.
Do you know that pineapple on pizza was first, I don't know if you call it invented, but was first done in Canada, not even in Hawaii.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah. I know a lot of people call it Hawaiian pizza. That's why I was like, Hawaiian pizza.
But I think it's because they put Canadian bacon on there, and so they just threw pineapple on it because the pork and the salty and the sweet go together, and so that's how they came up with the pineapple on pizza deal in Canada, not in Hawaii, folks.
Huh. Oh, wow. Bro.
Oreos. Are you a fan of Oreos?
Yes.
Are you a fan of the OG, the double stuff, the loaded, the thin, or the cakester?
The thins.
The thins are good.
The reason why I like the thins is I feel like I can eat more of them. Eat more of them. I know it's not true, but that's the way my mind works. It's like, I'm a calorie counter. I'm a macros person, and so I'm like, yeah. So that's.
I also think, though, you actually taste the cream better because the cookie is thinner. So you taste more of the cream than you do of the cookie on the thin.
I like the cookie more.
We got to get into the loaded then. The loaded is my favorite.
Huh.
It's like a double stuff but the double stuff cream is cookies and cream. So it's just all cookies and cream throughout the whole thing. That package of loaded will not be 2 a day. Like it's like 12 a day. I have to not buy it for that reason.
I think that might be my whole calorie day. Caloric input for the day if I ate 2 of those. It sounds like it's very high in calories.
Yes, 100%. It's great recovery. Like if you've just run 20 miles, you need to get those calories in right away. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Cake. What is your favorite type / flavor of cake?
Let me just try to think of something real quick. White chocolate raspberry. I don't really eat cake all that much. So.
Yeah, no doubt. That's okay. How about pie? Do you eat pie?
I love a good hot apple pie, but old school style apple pie with the crust on the top.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I don't know why this came up because you said hot, actually. Do you remember as a kid the McDonald's apple pies?
The old fried ones? I love them. Popeyes has a really good fried one. It's got cinnamon and sugar all over it. Every time. I rarely eat Popeyes, but when I do, I always have to grab them dang on pies.
Those McDonald's pies that were like eating lava. Like you had to chew it like,
yeah. Yep. That was my first job too. Good old McDonald's.
Oh, no way. That's awesome. Ice cream. What is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Ooh, really varies. I'm a Pisces. We're like always all over the place. Um, I'll tell you the type of ice cream I just had that I was supposed to only eat a little bit, but I ate the whole pint. I love Talenti's gelato,
Yes.
the double fudge crunch.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Ate
Been
that
there.
whole pint.
I think it was a couple of months ago. I must have had a stressful day. I don't know what happened. I went to 7-Eleven, which I call Sevy's. So I went to Sevy's and I got a pint of Oreo ice cream. And I told my wife, I was like, Dr. Lori, I'm just going to eat like 2 or 3 spoonfuls. And before I know it, the whole damn thing was gone. I was like, I don't know what happened here. It's just watching TV and it just couldn't, I just did not stop. I was like, where did it all go?
Yeah, yep. That's exactly what happened to that gelato. It was gone.
Talenti also makes a great coffee ice cream. So if you like
Ah,
coffee, their coffee flavor is one of the best. Absolutely one of the best.
I can imagine because it's Italian and
Right.
in Italy they do the whole ice cream and oh
The affogato.
yeah.
So good.
I need to go
So
back to
good.
Italy.
Me too.
But go back to the cake. If I ever when I go to Italy, the coconut cake,
Look at that face.
that's the cake. That cake. But I don't have it that often. So yeah.
Yeah. I love it. All right. 2 more questions. You get invited to the cookout. What are you bringing?
I make a mean baked macaroni and cheese.
Will I tell you? Will I disappoint you if I tell you that I wouldn't eat it only because I've never eaten macaroni and cheese in my 52 years of life, and at this
What?
point, I'm not giving in. I'm going to my grave, never eating macaroni and cheese.
What? Why? Is this with the texture? Like why?
So when I was a kid growing up, my mother would make spaghetti and meatballs like any other household, and she would force us to drink milk with it. And so it was always the taste was always off-putting of dairy and pasta. And I have not gotten out of my head. It's not even one and the same because look, I eat pizza like it's going out of business, right? So I'm eating dairy with red sauce, like I'm eating pasta and cheese, like lasagna. I love, like, I get it. It doesn't make any sense. But that connection of that glass of milk and that spaghetti macaroni dishes has been in my brain since I was a kid, and it has not changed. And they're not one and the same. It's weird. I get it. But I'm 52 years old. And at this point, I would rather have the reactions of people that are like, what? Than me actually giving in and finally having macaroni and cheese.
Well, you're missing out on something good, though.
Yeah, I know that's true because look, when you talk to people about macaroni and cheese, it is like a life-altering conversation. If they've had a really good one,
And
like
there's so many different ways to make it.
yeah, like
Yeah.
if they have a recipe from their grandmother, like you could see people transform in front of your eyes when they start talking about it. It's I get it, and I imagine it would be life-changing and life-altering for me too. But I'm sticking to it, and I'm not doing it.
Okay.
Last question for you. Tray of brownies has come out of the oven. It's cooled enough that you can actually cut it without making it into a total mess. Are you going to the corner piece? Are you going to the edge piece? Or are you going to the center for the ooey gooey piece?
I'm a corner piece girl. I don't like my brownies all unless it's under a scoop of ice cream, then they can get mushy. But yeah.
So let me ask you this, because I'm a corner piece person too. Like I have a handle I can hold on to and I can eat it. It's got a little crunchy burnt edge.
Mm-hmm.
Are you also the same for the lasagna? Do you go to the lasagna corner piece too?
I go for the piece that has the brownest cheese. And that could be anywhere. Like, cause depending on your oven. I go for I love that golden cheese, the bubble. Yeah.
I love it.
So wherever that is, it could be dead center.
Cutting in the middle and getting the spatula out and just leave everything around.
People be like, You're so weird. Yeah, I live it. It's me.
But you know what's so here's a semi. I don't know if this is a pet peeve or not, but when people are like, "Oh, I'm so weird," I'm like, "We're all weird. Like we all do weird shit, man. Like it's okay. Like I don't eat macaroni and cheese. I just told you."
Right. I'm one of those people that's just like, I want to beat my own drum. You want to be like
That's right.
everybody else, that's on you.
That's right. That's right. We have a saying in our house: "I am not for everybody, and everybody's not for me." So
Right.
we cool, right?
Right. Right.
Shenita, I have had such a great time talking with you. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Fireside Chat. I have not stopped smiling this whole episode, and I can see your face hasn't stopped smiling this whole episode. So we need to get together in real life sooner rather
Yeah.
than later. And I'm going to have to send you a calendar invite for post Berlin so we can have you back on. We can talk about the experiences coming back from your knee injury and getting back into training and running that race.
Yes. Thank you for inviting me. And I'm so glad we actually got to talk in real time instead of messaging back and forth.
Absolutely. Have a great night. Thank you.
It's almost time for you to have your cookie, though.
After about an hour's worth of work still.
Yeah.
I'll see you.
All right. Bye.
For those of you that have hung out with us for the last hour or so, I appreciate you doing it. I've had a great conversation with Shenita, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Your thoughts about being a Black woman in running and what they're experiencing, to your travel experiences, and any tips you have for those that are, traveling the world. Put them in the comments on Spotify, Instagram, YouTube. Love to hear from you. And then don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. I will see you next week on the next episode of the Fireside Chat.